But hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. This episode is about tax.
Beau! Beau! Beau!
And we thought we were smart. We're not. I was so prepared for these taxes too. Not prepared.
Well, we gave it a good old college try.
So this video is going to be about what we learned about having an art business and figuring out what we need to do for taxes. It is not a comprehensive list. We are not experts, and this is what we learned about taxes in Wisconsin. We went to our tax lady and we thought we had everything good to go. I have everything super organized. All my receipts are organized because last year I learned that if it's a receipt for the business, you need to classify them as supplies or resale. So I classified all of our receipts that way, and that was good. I also kept track of all of our miles, where we went, what the mileage is, all that, because I knew we had to do that for business. But what I didn't know is we had to differentiate.
Say that again.
Differentiate.
Differentiate.
Differentiate. That's why I wear my glasses.
Differentiate.
Between different types of mileage, because sometimes we did some volunteering and sometimes it was for business, and those have two different sets of monies attached to them. So I have to go back through our mileage and figure out what we did for volunteering and what we did for business. I guess the hardest thing we had to learn was how to separate everything from the business, even though we're the business. We found out that the business is actually a third imaginary person, according to tax laws.
Is it like a choose your own adventure?
We sat there for 35 minutes as she explained stuff to us, and we still had no clue.
And in her defense, she's a nice lady and she's super patient.
So we learned that we had to keep everything separate, even though we're the business. We're making the money, they're making checks to us. And it doesn't actually go to us, it goes to the business, which we couldn't wrap our head around too much. But we're slowly figuring that out. I found out that my wood shop's in the barn, but since it's not under the business, it's not the business. And
You mean the building itself?
yeah, and she was saying, well, I guess you could
Rent it to the LLC.
rent it to our LLC business. And I'm like,
but that's us.
but it's us and we already own it. Another thing we learned is we knew we had to get a business account, but we didn't know why, so we didn't do it. Because when we went to the bank, we had our employee ID number, which is something you need. We had other numbers, but we thought we had what we needed. But the bank said we needed our articles of organization, which we've never heard of. So then when I went to the Wisconsin government site to get those papers, it was going to cost us $172. And I thought that was really stupid that we had to pay $172 just to move our money. So then when we talked to our tax lady, she says the bank really doesn't want articles of organization. They want articles of agreement. Is that right? So when we were talking to her about the articles of organization and the articles of agreement, which we've never heard of, she says the bank doesn't know. They say it's the articles of organization and it's not. They need the articles of agreement. And we had no idea what those were. So she's trying to explain it to us. And
Very patiently.
for 35 minutes. And for us, it made it still. There's no logic to it. We don't know why it's done.
I would say you don't get stumped often, so it was,
God.
It was a good look on your
For
face.
35
like,
minutes, it was just,
I'm like, you don't even get stumped, and it's like, uh-oh, we're in trouble if you don't know. But it's the same thing. No, it's not.
the same thing. Doesn't work. So we asked her, what's the articles of agreement? And she says, well, in case you two separate, or if you hire somebody, or if one partner wants to go in a different direction, you know how to pay the bills before you get rid of that company, the LLC. The articles of agreement, I asked, is that a form we fill out? And she goes, no, that's a form you have to write up. You have to figure out how you're going to do all this stuff for your company. So then I asked, who's looking at it? And she says, nobody. And I'm like, and it's like, well, why do we have to do it? So she put it very clearly after all our questions. She said, the bean counters like to count the beans. They take the beans from one jar and they put them in another jar. That's why we have to do it. It's just so worthless to do this paperwork that nobody needs, nobody sees, but those are the tax laws.
Well, and she put it very well. Yesterday she goes, I can't paint, I can't do woodworking, but I can count the beans. And I know where the beans go. And
Yes.
I told her, I'm like, that's your artwork, because we look at it and it's just
So beans.
beans. And I'm like, I just want to bring in a bag of jelly beans, separate all the colors, and tell her, where do the purple ones go, where do the green ones go, where do the orange ones go.
We came back with notes. So these are the things that we need that we're sharing with you because you might need them. Keep your art business separate from personal stuff. So if you're buying things that are for the business and for personal, you have to keep those separate. Don't have them on the same purchase with the same card from the same account. Keep them separate. When you start up your business, you need an employee ID number, and you get that from the state. You need articles of organization, which we're still not sure what those are. And you also have to write up your articles of agreement, which nobody looks at least in Wisconsin, in the tax year 2021. Another thing you need is if you make any income, you have to make sure that you keep the personal separate from the business, which blew our minds again. Because like, we're the business, we're people. If they write money to us, it goes to the same place to the same people, but no, it doesn't. Yeah, so we don't.
She made the point, and I still wasn't sure, because last year was my last year of teaching. So we had a W-2 yet from that school year. That went into personal.
It's like, it's the
And
same money.
I'm like, it's the same money because we needed to make money to live, pay the mortgage, buy groceries.
But since we have an art business, the money she made from teaching isn't considered art money, that's personal. So we had to redo all the income we made last year and separate the personal from the business. So a heads up, it's not the same money in Wisconsin in the year 2021.
In Wisconsin.
Another thing we learned is if we went to an art show or we had art business somewhere and we needed to eat, we would save all those receipts just in case. We weren't sure if we needed the receipts, but we saved them, and I totaled them all up. She says we don't need them.
But for eating, it's not how many receipts you keep from eating out, even though we were pretty frugal about it. You were allotted so much per day for food.
Yeah, but how do they know how much food you ate?
I don't know. That's why I thought we'd have the receipts just to cover our butt in case we needed to show, yes, we ate at a fast food restaurant for $5.
We eat gas station sandwiches and granola. We learned that we get a food allowance of $50 a day. It's like, so if we're doing an art thing the whole day, we get $50 to write off. So do they do it by days? So if we're gone for an art show for 3 days, does that mean they credit us with $150 for food? We were, yeah, we think so. We were still encouraged to save the receipts in case we get audited.
She said the likelihood of that is
It's slim.
slim to none.
So we're doing all this work for just in case. The last thing she told us that we're not sure on this, and it still blows our mind because we have to go back today because we did everything wrong yesterday. It's completely demoralizing, just so you know.
Your spirit left your body.
God. Well, when we get our taxes done, we each get a K1 form, and those come to us. So we each get a K1 form. We have to do a separate return for the business, and then we do a separate return for personal. But then she mentions if we get a tax return back, that goes to personal.
And that, I don't know, that confused the crap out of me yet.
That was one of the many things we were confused on. So if there's any small businesses out there or any artists and you're just starting up and you don't know the tax thing, don't worry, we don't either. So there's lots of things we learned. Maybe you learned a little bit something too, and if you did, put it in the comments below because we, frick's sake, we don't know. God.
It takes a lot to get Beau frustrated, so this is a rarity to see him in this kind of form, because usually he's pretty like, I got this, this. And now he's just like,
You darn tootin'! I'm angry!
It's like we save all these receipts, like, oh, you can't use them because because that's not included in the business. It's like, yeah, it is. It doesn't have LLC. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time when we're not frustrated. Maybe we'll win at this tax thing. So we'll see you next time. Bye. Read it finally. LLC. We know we do different business. All the stuff I calculated. Can't use it. Can't use it. Can't use it. No food. You don't fucking eat.
You're like anti-Scrooge McDuck.
I am anti-muck duck.
You're not jumping into the sea of coins.
No, jumping into a sea of
Poop.
rusty double-edged razor blades.
Oh, well, you did shave today.
What are you doing? Okay. You came in and you started talking.
I'm sorry.
Screwed my funk up. On our way to the tax lady, because I finally got all the tax stuff organized. I also forgot to do.
Alright, the roads are great here.
What I also forgot to do was, since our office is in our house, we can deduct the square footage of our office from our total utility. So our office is like 7.51% of our total house square footage. So I can take that 7.51% off of our total yearly utilities, our heat and electrical, and that can be a tax deduction. So now you know, because I just remembered to do it. So I'll see you later, bye.
Wait.
We use the garage and we use the barn, and that's additional square footage, which we do heat and do have electrical on. I'm just not sure how to do that yet, so that's a question I have for our tax lady. Hopefully she'll have an answer for it, but we're just dropping off our taxes, and then when we pick them up, we'll have answers for you. So there may be a supplemental video going out. Okay, bye.